what we have sought to do, and I thank you, Attorney Griffith. Do not leave yet. We're not quite finished yet, but I thank you, because what we have done is lay out, I think, a very clear path for empowerment from the cohabitation area of it, for where folks seem to think that their security is in danger, their financial security is in danger, and they're afraid to leave because they say it's a common law thing. There is nothing for me. We have made it very clear that there is relief. There is a way you can go to correct that, and now we are into the area of a way you can get an order, even if you live at the property the person owns.
Yes,
even if they are present or not present, you can his or herself.
Yes.
I keep saying that, Jenny, because the general perception is that only women. Yes, only women are the victims of domestic violence, and you know, as I do, that is not true.
That is not true, and in fact, quite often, and the thing is that our society, we have been cultured and taught in such a way that quite often men who are themselves the subject of domestic violence are almost afraid to speak out on it.
Because folks make
they are
the
ridiculed when
yes,
they go to the police station as well.
And that is the
what
point.
What kind of man, and this sort of thing. So this is why there has been training of the police service so that they can be sensitized in this area. But the thing is that we do have a lot of our men folk who actually are the subject of domestic violence, and they do not know how to seek redress.
Victim Services Unit's head, Samson Brown has been trying for a long time, and they're working at, educating police officers on dealing with this. But it's a cultural thing that's going to take a very long time.
Yes.
And a male victim unit is something probably needs to be set up where you have people who are sensitive to this, because it's very difficult for a man experiencing a situation, and you walk into the police station. When you walk in there, you start explaining. They go in the corner and they start laughing at you. And then before you know it, you either say, to hell with this, or you make sure if it happens again that you never go to the station.
Yes.
There's a great danger in that, because some folks are saying, oh, well, then you just have to go home and man up. Here is the problem for that. When you don't find relief for the lesser, it escalates.
Yes, because what happens is then you now have this cycle of violence, because you then take matters into your own hand, and really it has its own momentum and creates its own problems.
You have a restraining order against somebody, but forget about a restraining order.
Yes.
And then there are children involved. How does that reconcile?
It is. Children are always. That is always the most difficult aspect of these matters, because one of the things that we need to understand as well, the fact that one party shows or exhibits or displays domestic violence to their partner does not necessarily mean that they will in fact display violence to their children. So that you have to separate those two things. In addition to that, you also have to be aware that usually there is one person who is the primary caregiver for the child or the children. And so if you have a situation where the person who is committing the act of violence has been excluded from the home or has been restrained in some way, quite often it impacts the exercise of access by that person to the children. Because you cannot, most times or quite often, the court will make an order that you cannot come within 50 feet or 100 yards of the person whom the protection order is for. If it is as well that you have shown you have carried out acts of violence towards your children, the person who is the primary caregiver for the children or the police, there's a whole list of persons who can actually bring those complaints. But for now, we will speak about it in the context of the family. You can bring and seek protection order in respect of the children of the family to restrain your partner from having access to the children. So that the order can be to restrain him in terms of access to you as the other adult in the relationship, or it can be to you and the children, or it can be simply to the children. But in relation to children, the application for protection of children has to be brought on their behalf, so that it is usually done by a parent or by the police, usually, in terms of seeking protection for those children. And now we have the Children's Authority up and running, so that they also have powers that have been provided by the legislation, where they are able to intervene. So that if you are aware of circumstances where there is a child who is a subject of violence, maybe by one or both parents, this gives you an opportunity to have it raised with the Children's Authority, who will intervene on behalf of the child.
Attorney Hyacinth Griffith, thank you very much for taking the time to be with us this morning. Truly appreciated that I know you had to do some readjustment of your schedule to be here, and we are very thankful for that.
Yes.
Thank you so much for being with us inside Brunch this morning. And we will be in contact with you. Your law office is up and running. And
yes.
I don't know. I know there's a whole hullabaloo going on about attorneys advertising and some crazy thing I don't understand. Are you allowed to say where you practice from?
I'm an attorney in Trinidad and Tobago, and I also practice in other islands of the Caribbean. But
right. The islands
if
being
someone
Jamaica,
really
Barbados.
I'm Jamaican.
And Jamaica,
I'm
yes.
Jamaican, but I think I am... I don't know if I can even say that too loud. I've been living here now for 30 odd years, and this is in fact home.
Well, it's nice to have you home. I just find it amazing. Attorney's not supposed to advertise. What are you talking about? Anyway, that's a different talk show, different time.
Different talk show, different time.
Attorney Hyacinth Griffith, thank you so much. You have yourself a wonderful day. Thank you for joining us. For clarity on the issue of cohabitational relationships, and that is the act that was passed in 1919. Also, thank you to the General Secretary of the Prison Officers Association, Mr. Gerald Gordon. Thanks to you, most importantly, for joining us this morning for Brunch. Invitation is extended for you to partake and participate in next week at 10 o'clock. Have yourself a very wonderful day and a great week ahead. I'll be back again tomorrow morning at 6 o'clock for the 107.7 Morning Show with my co-host, Michelle Borrell. Have a good day.